Cameron Smith has said last night that he wants the season suspended. What's your reaction to that?
Look, that's one option we've looked at on a number of options. We want that lever up in our armoury at the moment. You know, we may do that 3-4 weeks down the track, but I think it's probably premature at this stage to be doing it because we want to have everything available to us in this crisis. To pull the trigger now and in 2 weeks nothing's changed, well, you know, we've got nowhere. But if in 3 or 4 weeks a player unfortunately catches the virus, well, then we can suspend it there and use that 2 weeks there. So we don't want to lose that asset that we have at the moment, that we can suspend the season for a period of weeks without affecting the whole game.
So is it a financial reason to keep it going for now?
Absolutely, and it's also it is a financial reason. We earn our money from broadcast. If we don't get that revenue from broadcast, we can't pay the costs, we can't pay the players, we can't pay the administration, we can't pay any of our bills. And there's an economic multiplier through the whole economy because, you know, there's the broadcast people, the cameramen, the caterers. We're not asking for a handout. What we're saying is include us in the economic stimulus. You know, Rugby League provides, you know, billions of dollars to the economy. It lifts the spirits of people around Australia. In any other crisis in history, you need sport to lift the spirit of people. And in Rugby League, that's what we want to do. We want to continue playing, lift the spirits of people, but at the same time take every precaution possible so none of our players or officials contract the coronavirus. So that's why we've commissioned a biosecurity expert and a pandemic expert to put every measure in place to minimise the risk while we continue to play.
OK, the Prime Minister, just on that bailout package, the Prime Minister has said this morning that it is not a priority at the moment. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I don't think it is a priority either. I agree with him. I think he's got bigger issues at the moment. What I'm saying is include us in the economic stimulus. There's $17 billion that's going to be paid out to keep the economy going. You know, as I said, Rugby League is a game, but it's also an industry. It, you know, provides billions of dollars to the economy, employs tens of thousands of people, so we need to stay viable. If you want a game into the future, we need to get some stimulus to keep us going and to keep the economy going.
So what's the figure, Peter? How much do you need?
Look, we're working that out at the moment, and it really depends on the scenario that we're faced with. If the worst case scenario is and we have to abandon the whole season, that's catastrophic. You know, as I said, we still have all the expenses, but we don't have the revenues. We have, you know, a limited amount of reserves that we put that will go towards all these. You know, just losing the state of origin alone is a $20 million hit. You know,
so that could happen. Do you think that could happen? State of origin this year, a no-go?
Well, we're in uncharted waters. That, you know, we may have to delay the state of origin because it's a, you know, an hour-on-hour situation. We don't know what the next steps are going to be. You know, if one of our players catches the virus, we have to suspend the season. Everything just goes out the window. All the best planning, you know, unfortunately, it could be frivolous in this case.
The figures have been bandied about this morning, Peter. $235 million may be what's needed to save Rugby League. Is that about right?
No, look, I think that's on the high end. And as I said, it depends on the scenario. If we lose the whole season, that's devastating. If we continue to play without spectators, that's not as harsh because we get the majority of our revenue from broadcast. But, you know, you still have to look after all the other people. Like, what happens to the people that are in the stadiums that have no spectators, the catering staff, the security staff, all those people? We have to look after everyone that participates in the rugby league ecosystem. We just can't forget them.
Why has the NRL found itself in financial trouble so quickly, given that it makes so much money from TV rights?
Look, it's not so quickly. As I said, we have reserves, but those reserves will run out very quickly. And
how long do you think?
It's like any other business. Well, it depends again on the scenario, Peter. I don't know if it's the season-ending situation. Well, the reserves will go very quickly. If it's playing without spectators, you know, we'll survive. No problem at all. It really depends on which contingency we have to face.
Have the expansion plans now gone?
Look, no. Look, we're pretty optimistic. You know, this virus hopefully will be contained and go away and will be business as usual. So now the expansion plans aren't until 2023, so that's a long time off. And hopefully we can survive this, remain viable, because as I said, sport lifts the spirits of people around Australia, and rugby league is the #1 sport in New South Wales and Queensland. And we want to continue to play and continue to entertain the people and the fans and continue the rugby league economy.
Sure, and just on that, there are some critics about this morning, Peter, who say that why should taxpayers be brought in to help, you know, fund the game when all this money is needed in hospitals at the moment? It's needed in these essential services.
Look, that's an ill-informed situation, because what I'm asking for is a part of the stimulus. I'm not asking for something that's going to go to hospitals or out of the budget. The government's going to provide monies to businesses to keep the economy going. Sport is a business. We need to keep going, and that's all we're asking for. We're not saying deviate money from that. I mean, that's really ridiculous.
Right, OK. You've been here before, Peter. The equine outbreak 13 years ago, you secured financial aid for the racing industry. You know, obviously this is a bit bigger. This is a bigger situation. But can the comparisons be noted here, and what are your chances of success?
Look, I think our chances of success are great because, as I said, we're a vital part of the economy. If the stimulus package is to have an economic multiplier, well, we've got to be part of it because we employ tens of thousands of people. So it's a similar situation when we had equine influenza. We convinced the government with facts, not opinions and ill-informed comments. We had the facts, and that's how we got the money. And it was a great investment by the government because it kept the industry going. It made it viable, and now it's reaping the benefits from the significant taxes it receives from racing and from all the people that are in, you know, the 50,000 people that are employed directly and indirectly from racing. It's an investment for the future. It's not a handout. It's not deviating money away from crucial services. You know, we are a significant taxpayer. If we're not around, you're not going to get those taxes in the future.
Well, I mean, racing, I suppose, is facing the same problems. You know, there's restaurants, there's bookies, there's you know, people who are on the track. Is the racing industry facing the same problems that rugby league is facing?
Look, not as much, because we generate the majority of our revenue from wagering, and if we can continue to race and generate wagering, it certainly it's not as a bigger impact as what it is to rugby league. But there will be losses, no doubt about that, and we have to look at that and assess that as well. But at this stage, if we can continue to race and generate wagering revenue, which is our #1 revenue, well, we should be fine. But that could change tomorrow. You know, I can't predict the future at the moment. You know, if we stop racing like we did during equine influenza, yes, then we have a problem.
All right, Peter V'landys, not too many people busier than you at the moment. Really appreciate you squeezing us in and talking to us on First Edition. Thank you.
My pleasure, Pete.